This presentation traces the common origins of three very different October and November celebrations: American Halloween, French La Toussaint, and the Hispanic Dia de los Muertos. These celebrations all grow out of one unchangeable fact of human existence: we all die. All human cultures, dating back to the most ancient, have developed ways of dealing with death. Burial rituals, beliefs about an afterlife, and even holidays to commemorate dead loved ones are universal in human cultures. All three of these celebrations have their roots in European origins, that is, ancient Celtic traditions and beliefs, and also the early Christian conversion of those beliefs. The Celts, a people who dominated Central and Northern Europe around 3000 BC and later, celebrated their New Year around November 1st with their feast of Samhain. Led by their pagan priests, or druids, the Celts began their new year and their entrance into the dark half of the year with many rituals celebrating both the season of Samhain and the god by the same name who ruled that season, the god of darkness, death, and decay. One strong custom to start the new year was to extinguish the home hearth fires and to relight them from a community bonfire. Sometimes animal and even human sacrifices were made at these bonfires, giving rise to the English term bonfire or bone fire. These bonfires were not only important reminders of how important fire was to these people as they entered the cold and dreary winter, but they were also beacons for the dead. The Celts believed that on this one night of the year, their god Samhain eliminated the barrier between the world of the dead and the world of the living, and allowed communication between the two. The dead were allowed to wander the earth in search of their earthly homes, and feasts were prepared at the homes, in anticipation that the dead would soon arrive. Many Celts built stone structures called dolmens in which they would bury their important leaders. During the festival of Samhain, often these dolmens were used as the focus for many of the celebrations of the season. Many of these dolmens, some as old as 5,000 or 6,000 years, are scattered across the northern European countryside. Another stone structure used by these Celts throughout northern Europe were long lines of vertical stones called menhirs. This is in northern France at a place called Carnac, but also in southern England you have Stonehenge. In the first few centuries A.D., missionaries like St. Patrick here of Ireland converted many of the Celts to the Christian religion, but found that they didn't want to give up some of their old pagan beliefs, especially the festival of Samhain. As the monarchs of Europe, like Charlemagne pictured here, became Christianized, more and more effort was put into trying to destroy the old pagan beliefs and rituals. The Roman Catholic Church tried hard to replace all the pagan beliefs. One attempt was to take the festival of Samhain and replace it with All Saints' Day, followed by All Souls' Day. This would take place on November 1st and November 2nd. In 835 AD, Charlemagne's son, Louis the Pious, pictured here, decreed that it was mandatory for all Christians to attend a special Mass on the day of All Saints' Day, encouraging them to give up their beliefs in the old pagan rituals. Today, nearly 12 centuries after that, the French now celebrate the day as La Toussaint, or All Saints' Day, and it is primarily a memorial day, a religious observance when families will go to graves and decorate them in remembrance of their loved ones. For most French schools, there is a school holiday during this week, or at least 2 days, the November 1st and November 2nd, to observe All Souls Day and All Saints Day. It is not a time of Halloween, although the practice that has become popular in America of Halloween has been imported to Europe and is gaining in popularity. French Catholics will also visit their local churches and light candles for either their recent dead or for their favorite saints. So the French La Toussaint is again primarily one of remembering all the Catholic saints, but also remembering all the souls who have died, especially ones who are close to one's family. The American custom of trick-or-treating is now becoming more popular in France and in Europe in general, but it can be traced to its ancient roots back in Celtic times when families would send their young children door to door asking for food for the festival of Samhain. The Mexican holiday of Los Días de los Muertos has its roots in both European history and ancient American history. In the early 1500s, the Spanish explorer Hernando Cortés, pictured here, invaded Mexico and conquered the Aztec Empire, bringing with him the European and Roman Catholic beliefs. The Aztecs that Cortés conquered had similar beliefs, even though they were half a world away from the ancient Celts, in that they believed in communication with the world of the dead at certain times of the year. Cortés and the other Spaniards found that many of the religious beliefs of the ancient Aztecs were barbaric, especially their fascination with communication with the dead. The Aztecs had a belief that their day for communicating with the dead was in August, and they would honor children and the dead. The native Mexicans viewed death as a continuation of life, and they embraced it. The Spaniards instead tried to transform the joyous holiday to a serious day of prayer. The ritual was moved to November as part of All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day, but Mexicans continued many of their traditions, and it is celebrated today as a joyous holiday. For Mexicans today, it is one of the most colorful celebrations they have all year long. Marigolds are the main flower used in decorations, primarily for their bright color and for their strong smell. Families spend hours in the graveyard sprucing up the old graves. Families gather in graveyards and sing and eat and remember with great fondness their dead loved ones. During the Days of the Dead, families welcome the spirits of the dead into their homes. Many families create altars which are decorated with the pictures of the dead, flowers, and candles. To honor the dead and to invite them into their homes, people also put offerings or ofrendas on the altars. Offerings include their late loved ones' favorite foods, drinks, and desserts. Offerings also often include things like cigarettes and the person's favorite liquor. The next several pictures show quite a variety of different types of altars. This particular altar is dedicated to hundreds of women who have been tortured and killed in the city of Juarez. Families also often eat items like this, called pan de muertos, or bread of the dead. This street market also sells pan de muerto. Skulls made of sugar and meant to be eaten are often iced and even decorated with people's names. Here a young boy is actually decorating one of the sugar skulls to be eaten later. One very common theme among Mexican Dia de los Muertos decorations are these skulls and skeletons, the calacas, the skeletons, and the calaveras, which are the skulls. This skeleton character is known as La Catrina. She appeared around 1918, made famous by a newspaper cartoonist named Jose La Posada. Images of La Catrina are all over the Mexican Dia de los Muertos. There she is on a checker or chessboard. These are three old maids at a tea party, and they're also decorated in the style of La Catrina. Skeletons from every walk of life are decorated and displayed. Brightly colored paper flowers are a favorite decoration. And so are these specially cut paper decorations called papel picados. And to finish this presentation, you'll see a series of images. Feliz Dia de los Muertos!